Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 22 of Season 2 in NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen here at Watkins Glen International. 14 laps of racing here at this crazy road course, and I have a special guest commentator, first time ever doing co-commentary with. Please welcome Nelson Thornhill, or Kamikaze Games, or Dylan Jacobs, or whatever you may want to call him. How's it going?
It's been a good set of races, Levi. I am glad to be here, finally able to react to a race with you and commentate for the Marvel Studios Cup Series.
Yeah, indeed. But before we take a look at the lineup, let's see how the point standings look coming into today after the, let's just say, chaotic race at Texas. So after Texas last week, Chris Michaels took the points leads by 20 points over Nelson Thornhill and 34 over Rafael Leduc, and then fourth is Emmanuel Hartnett, and fifth is ironically the pole sitter for today, Seth Cole. Sixth is Dorian Facepuncher, seventh Anthony McCrory, eighth Austin LaPlante, ninth Grayson Acevedo, and 10th Joshua Sekuli. Rest of the top 20 is Nathaniel Reed, David Rivera, Charles Sanford, DJ Curtis, JT Bryant, Kev Shearer, James Qualls, Dylan Thoreau, Benjamin Miles, and Trent Dunham. But as far as points lead battles go, top 5 separated by 67 points, so still plenty of races to go in this season considering we have no chase this season. It's all about who gets the most points at the end, and it's been pretty close between the top 3 for the past 5-6 weeks, roughly. But let's take a look at the lineup. Starting in the last row, we have James Shelley and Grayson Acevedo. Top 10, Seth Cole on the pole. Starting next to him is Dylan Thoreau. Row 2, we have Benjamin Miles and Kyle Matthews. I hope you enjoy that. Row 3 is Johnny Gardner and Matt McIntyre. Row 4 is Matt Haas and Andrew Rich. And then row 5, James Qualls and Mark Lane. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the command to fire engines for this race, shall we?
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it. As my frame rates are not very good, I need to get a new graphics card or something to fix this crap, but either or, we'll tough through it. So, any expectations for this race?
Well, I know that Watkins Glen is known to be a very competitive racetrack in NR. It's going to be hard to bet against the pole sitter Seth Cole, though. He appears to have a great race car this weekend, and he might charge his way up through the standings today.
Yep, and he hopes he doesn't go to Narnia and fly into the catch fence like he usually does sometimes. But pace car is in the pit road, which means we're getting set to go racing here at the Glen as they're coming to the start-finish line to get this party started. And boogity, 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 let's go racing! Well, Seth Cole led lap number 1, but we had a couple of different crashes go on, and the caution is out. Now, some people may wonder, why is the caution out at a road course? Well, we're going to do an experiment to see how these road course races turn out with cautions being on, so this may be a one-time thing. But, quite a lot of cars, including Rafael LeDuc, for the second week in a row, gets caught up in a big crash. Man, the guy who had been the points leader most of this season has just been struggling as of late. He hopes that this doesn't completely hinder him in the championship fight. But a lot of other cars were caught up in this. Grayson Acevedo was in it. And top 5 in points. Emmanuel Hartnett. Phil Parker damaged. P.J. Williams. Charles Sanford. Andrew Rich. Anthony McCurry, who was top 10 in points. A new Austin LaPlante went around. Zach Rogers with damage. But chaos ensuing on lap number 1 here at the Glen.
Lots of competitive cars appear to have been taken out as a result of that incident. We'll see how many more incidents take place over the course of today, or if this is a one-and-done situation.
Yeah, it all depends on how aggressive they were going. And I think as a result, because of how they were going double wide for that start, it caused a lot of things to happen. Maybe when we get back racing here, though, maybe the racing will be a little more smoother since there'll be single file for this restart. But with that being said, let's actually go and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at the Glen. Well, this is the best camera shot of what happened to start this. They were 3 wide between Rafael LeDuc, Mark Lane, and Andrew Rich. And right there, it looks like the 56 just gets into the side of Andrew Rich's car, and then they're going to come right back up the racetrack and collect Rafael LeDuc. And watch the 99 up in the air, nearly turned over. Luckily, it came back on all 4 wheels, and then they just pile in all these cars. The 18, the Ford, the 48 got involved, and then further up ahead, they were wrecking even more. Nelson Thornhill got a slight piece of that, but he managed to get through virtually unscathed. And, how did Joshua Collard get in this? Oh, he was right behind where the wreck started, and then right as the 56 back up the track, there went the 43 of Joshua Collard, who desperately needs a good finish in order to try to get back up into the top 30 in points. And right there was a little contact between McCrory and Thornhill, but or at least the 78 managed to save it, but the 61 did not. And I'm trying to figure out where in the world was... there was Zach Rogers. I guess it was all just a stack-up effect after the 48 was spun. But yeah, like we were talking about before we went to this replay, just over-aggressive driving at the start of the race, and I think that is attributed to double-file starts here at this track.
And this is going to be a rough points day for many drivers up in the standings. This is not what they wanted to see early in the race.
Indeed. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at the Glen. Well, after that first caution, we have quite a lot of cars out of the race, and they include Andrew Rich, Rafael LeDuc, Anthony McCurry, Charles Sanford, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Grayson Acevedo. So 6 cars out of the race. Pit strategy took place under the caution. 3 cars, the top 3 in fact, stayed out. And your leader right now is Matt Haas. Second is Matt McIntyre. And third is Sean Galligan. Everybody else pitted. So 4th is Seth Cole. 5th, Benjamin Miles. 6th is Johnny Gardner. 7th, Kyle Matthews. 8th, Dylan Thoreau. 9th, James Qualls. 10th is DJ Curtis. 11th is Kev Shearer. 12th is Chris Michaels. 13th, Chris Dollarton. 14th, Preston Blord. 15th, Nelson Thornhill. 16th, Jessica Shelton. 17th, Joshua Collard. 18th is Mark Lane. 19th, Jonathan Zorline. And then 20th is Trent Dunham. 21st, Charles Jackson. 22nd, Nathaniel Reed. 23rd is Austin LaPlante. 24th is P.J. Williams. 25th, Phil Parker. 26th, J.T. Bryant. 27th, Ashland Boyd. 28th, Jesse King. 29th, Joshua Sekuli. 30th is Carson Gum. And then everybody else include James Shelley, David Rivera, Dorian Facepuncher, Zach Rogers, Dylan Young, and Angel Alvera. As we're getting set to go back to racing with 11 laps to go. Still a long way to go here in this race. And Matt Haas, big jump on that restart.
An excellent restart for the driver of the 77, but there's action behind them. To the outside goes Seth Cole. Can he hang on to the position?
Doesn't look like as Benjamin Miles and Johnny Gardner go by. As Seth Cole's trying to fight off his teammate Kyle Matthews and the 41 of Dylan Thoreau. All fighting and jockeying for position right now. Back up here at the front. Couple cars catching up to the 77. You got Matt McIntyre, Sean Galligan trying to reel him in.
And these are all drivers that stayed out before that restart. They elected not to pit. Drivers behind them have fresher equipment. Can the drivers behind them get ahead, or will this pit strategy pay off for the top three?
Yeah, whoa, nearly a wreck right there between Austin LaPlante and Phil Parker as they nearly tangled up into each other right around there. But back up here at the front, close to the line, but Matt Haas leads that lap, and I guess some scoring issues happened as we went back to green, as a lot of guys I said who were in certain positions are now in the back. I guess because of the pit stops happening, and it caused some ruckus, but Matt McIntyre trying to figure out what it is he has to do to get around the 77 to get to that lead.
Looks like he has a decent run here. If he can dive it into the bus stop, he has a shot at the lead. Looks like he won't get it here, but he's definitely got more speed than the 77 right now.
Yeah, at least in certain parts of the racetrack. As I'm trying to look around, ooh, Dylan Young in a short pit. This could be strategy in case they pit again later, which I do think they will have to pit later on in the event.
Definitely no one that can make it on fuel right now. This could be a great strategy play for the driver of the two.
Yeah, but meanwhile, battle for second as here comes the 44 of Sean Galligan from Richard Petty Motorsports in that Twisted Tea Dodge Dart. Moves into second. He may have something for the 77 of Matt Haas.
He's got a lot of speed there and a good-looking race car. Great sponsor. I approve.
And that car was made by yours truly. Well, cheaply, but still made it. Anyways, Matt McIntyre trying to regain momentum on the 44. He dove it in a little deeper than the 44, but just couldn't quite carry that speed. And then the 21 of Benjamin Miles trying to see what it is he has to do to get around some cars. As meanwhile, they continue to fight back here. I believe this right here is for the 7th position, I want to say, between Dylan Thoreau and Chris Dollerton. Dollerton in that Xbox Ford for Young Motorsports. Dylan Thoreau in the 41 for Stuart Haas as they fight it out. But Dollerton beats him to the line at that instant. But back up here at the front, Galligan managed to gain a little bit on the 77, maybe a whole 1/10 of a second right there, but he's got to try and figure out ways to get around the 77, and we're approaching one of those spots, that classic bus stop.
And this is a great run for that 44 car. If he can get around the 77, he'll be able to play pit strategy or fuel mileage conservation. Unlikely you can make it to the end from here, but there's always a shot if we get more caution laps.
Yeah, so far the racing after that crash has been a little more smoother as they are still trying to figure out ways to get around each other. Whoa, the 44's got to run! Can he make it down low? Oh, he almost had it, but just couldn't quite carry that speed. But he is there to the back bumper, so he definitely gained more on the 77. You can tell the 44's got something up his sleeve.
And that was a big incident for Matt Haas in the final corners there. Barely hanging on. He got out of the groove.
Oh, but here comes the 44. Corners. They're now fighting, but Haas is going to get the advantage right there off of that corner. And Matt McIntyre slowly approaching the 44 to try to take back second.
And pretty soon we'll have a three-way battle for the lead. If the 44 and 77 get next to each other, That 24 can swoop in at any moment and get them both at once.
Yeah, and these are the three, like we've said, that are still have yet to pit. And it's past halfway, so you definitely know that they have to pit at some point before the end of the race if they're going to make it on gas. Oh, Galligan on the outside, but that opened up the room for Matt McIntyre to take back second.
Down the front stretch, it looks like Matt McIntyre has the advantage, and he will have the preferred lane going into one. This could be a move to get the race win. Should he find a way around the 77, everyone probably still has to pit here.
Yeah, and Benjamin Miles now approaching the top three, as he's now right on the back bumper of Galligan. Benjamin Miles been conservatively in the top 5 all race long so far. And look at this, it's almost like a freight train up here at the top 4 of the field almost. Johnny Gardner in the 15 and 5th trying to figure out if they're going to wreck up here and hope he can pull some spots out. But who knows what can happen here, as anything can happen here at the Glen. As Phil Parker continues to be slow on the track with no hood after he was in that first caution.
Yeah, he's got to get as much points as he can get here. That was a rough incident to begin the race. Definitely not the way he wanted to start his day.
Yeah, and Phil Parker, who won recently, I can't remember which track it was. I believe it was Road America he ended up winning. And he's been trying to get into the top 30 in points over the past couple of races, and that's going to be a big hit for him to try to get up there. But meanwhile, Haas still leads, but McIntyre's still within reach. Still within reach. He just needs to pull a big move out of his rear end if he's going to make it to that top spot. Oh! Again, he dove it into the bus stop a little deeper, but not as much speed carried, but he did carry a lot of speed, and he's approaching the 77. We'll see what happens when we come off of the final corners here.
Looks like he had a strong run through the carousel and might even be able to make a move into these 2 final corners. We'll see what he does. I think they'll stay in line for now.
Yeah. Oh, and they're pitting. They're going into pit road, and
everything.
I thought I saw the caution come out, but I guess I was seeing things. So they're on pit road, which hands the lead over to the 21 of Benjamin Miles in that Big Mac 21 for Sega Motorsports.
And with 4 laps to go, we'll see if he can stretch it, but it's unlikely. He will probably have to pit one more time before this race is over.
And he comes into the race 19th in points, trying to gain as much points as possible to move up in the standings as much as he can.
This could be a huge season-changing win for the 21 team. We'll see what they can do in these final laps.
Yeah, and let's see where the points leader, Chris Michaels, is running. Last scored 13th, but he's fighting a couple of cars. Jesse King in the 51 and James Shelley in the 71. Let's get back up here. Oh, these leaders are pitting, so they are all going to come into pit road to try to top off. This is going to make things interesting as to who is going to be the leader.
Yes, now the question is, can these teams on pit road now beat the drivers that went down pit road last time by? It's going to be tight to see who had better stops and if the drivers that pitted early had better equipment on that lap.
Yeah, and these are the 3 that came in the pit in the first group, Haas and Galligan. So if they were to cycle around, this could be the fight for the lead, as Galligan's got the run underneath Haas, but now Haas is going to get the run back. Maybe not. Galligan goes by Matt Haas for a spot. This could be your race lead if everything cycles around properly. Oh man, it is going to be close. Benjamin Miles pulling out on track. If he can get up to speed, he could keep the lead, and I think... yeah, he is up to speed, so the 21's still your leader, but Galligan's coming in hot.
And the 44 is going to have a lot of momentum here if he can get him down this long stretch.
Oh no, maybe the 15 actually got to the lead, as he's out there way ahead. He must have went for gas only or something, because he's now way out in front.
That is a massive lead. Either his pit crew pulled an immaculate stop out, or he has an only 2-tire stop there. This could be the race for the win. And
we are coming to 2 to go. PJ Williams in the pit road in the 18 Skittles Toyota, and now we're coming to the line. Let's see if it's official. Is Gardner the leader? Yes, he is. Leads by how much? 2.5 seconds over to 21. So yeah, they must have went with either 2 tires or gas only to get out ahead, and that's smart strategy, because that big lead, I don't think it's going to shrink in very much unless the 15 somehow, someway makes a big mistake, which we don't really see those very often, where the leaders make a big mistake on a road course unless you're at Thornton, which we don't run on here anymore because I don't like it crashing my game all the time. But beside the point, battle for second. Galligan had a run on Miles, but couldn't quite make it. And then Matt Haas, who had been the dominant car all race long, is back in 4th.
It looks like we're going to have a huge battle for second place, but it's all taking place behind our leader.
And meanwhile, Chris Michaels now falls back to 22nd on the track, and now we are coming. White flag is out for the 15 of Johnny Gardner for Tweenix Racing. Oh, the lead did shrink a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be very much in the end. As meanwhile, the battle for second between 3 cars continues. Miles ahead of Galligan and Haas, and then back here, Kyle Matthews with a miraculous run going in 5th. He's been trying to get back into the top 30 over the past several weeks, and now he may have a shot to get up there again.
It'll be big for that team if they can do it, but as you can see on your screen now, that's your leader, and he's got a healthy margin to second place.
Indeed he does, as Phil Parker is still off the pace, but somehow, some way, I think he's still on the lead lap, is he not? Yes, he is. I don't know how he's still on the lead lap, but he is. Wow, look at this cluster back here for 5th on back. But anyways, we're coming out of the final corner, and it's all Johnny Gardner, first-time winner this season, coming to the line. Johnny Gardner wins the Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen. And I got a feeling if this race was a little bit longer, I think the 21, among others, could have caught him, because they did catch a whole second in the last 2 laps, but just wasn't enough time. But congratulations to Johnny Gardner for getting his first win this season, and I think first time ever in the Marvel Studios Cup Series.
That was a fantastic drive by the 15 of Johnny Gardner, but I think the real story here today is Rafael Leduc, who was involved in that crash on lap 1. He may be out of championship contention at this point.
Hey, you never know. Like I've said before, no chase. It's all about momentum, and we still got a long way to go. I think after this race, we got 14 races left in the season, but we'll see what happens. But let's look at the rest of the results. Benjamin Miles thought he had this race won, but he didn't realize the 15 just had a crazy pit stop. But great run nonetheless for the 21. Sean Galligan, one of the Brits of the field, comes out with a phenomenal finish in 3rd. Highest finishing rookie was Matt Haas, who was the dominant car of the race, comes out 4th. And then Kyle Matthews with a great run in 5th. Great run in the 6th position for DJ Curtis. Solid run in 7th for Matt McIntyre. And there it went again.
My phone is blowing up. What is this?
Anyways, great run in 8th for Chris Dollerton. Solid run in 9th for Preston Plord. And then a great run in 10th for Kev Shearer. And the rest of the top 20 was Carson Gum, Joshua Sekuli, James Qualls, Dylan Thoreau, James Shelley, Nathaniel Reed, JT Bryant, David Rivera, Dylan Young, and Chris Michaels. Rest of the top 30 was Seth Cole, Zach Rogers, Dorian Facepuncher, Jesse King, Charles Jackson, Ashlyn Boyd, Joshua Collard, Jonathan Zorline, Angel Alvera, Trent Dunham. And then the rest of the cars that finished on the lead lap were Jessica Shelton, PJ Williams, Nelson Thornhill, Austin LaPlante, Mark Lane, and Phil Parker. and everybody else was out of the race after that big wreck on lap 1. Andrew Rich, Rafael LeDuc, Anthony McCrory, Charles Sanford, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Grayson Ace Veto. So that does it for our coverage here today at Watkins Glen after what was probably the best Watkins Glen race I have ever had on this channel. And I also would like to thank Mr. Nelson Dillon Thornhill Jacobs Kamikaze Games for stopping by.
That is going to be my new name. I'm going to go get it legally changed right now.
Anyways, so with that being said, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into next week, which is Tennessee Superspeedway, a restrictor plate track, so we'll see how that turns out. But until then, I'm Levi McIntyre, signing off.